Welcome everyone, my name is Federico Tozzi. I'm the Executive Director of the Emilia-Romagna Chamber of Commerce in New York, and we are here today at the Middleby residential showroom to have the masterclass boot camp on Emilia-Romagna. I would like to thank first of all our host, Jackie Rothong, brand ambassador for Viking, and as I said, our host, celebrity chef, our good friend Francesco Lupo, food educator, and today we have a new chef, a very good friend of mine, Michele Casadei Massari. He has a wonderful restaurant in New York called Lucciola, chain of cafe, Piccolo Cafe here in New York, but more importantly, he's also the brand ambassador of Parmigiano Reggiano. So thank you, all of you, for being here today.
Thank you.
As you know, this is an initiative that is part of a larger campaign called the True Italian Taste, that is supported by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and is organized by the Italian Chambers of Commerce around the world and our association in Italy, Assocamere Estero. So why don't we start, and Francesco, why don't you tell us, first of all, which product we are going to talk about today?
Today we actually have a vast number of DOP and IGP we'll be talking about today. We're going to start with Parmigiano Reggiano, followed by another of the major DOPs of Emilia-Romagna, which is Prosciutto di Parma. We have Balsamic Vinegar, IGP, and Salame Solghino, and Salame, Felino. Sorry, it's a small town. And Felino. What marries the whole thing is come from the region of Emilia-Romagna. Emilia-Romagna is one of the most wonderful areas in Italy. It's the breadbasket, I think, will be the pantry of Italy, because as a very fertile environment terroir that adds a lot of, and the geography of it is open to the sea on one side, the Adriatic Sea, the Apennine Mountains on one side, and the Alps on the other side, and the Po Valley in the middle, which creates a very unique micro climate that adds flavors to the foods that nowhere else can be found. Like I say, we're going to be talking about DOPs and IGPs. As again, we're going to repeat what a DOP is. DOP is a certification that gets given by the European community. Is there for the consumer to be protected from food frauds or sounding names, similar products that don't give the same product. In order to be a DOP, everything has to be done in a specific geographical area. That means Prosciutto di Parma can only be made in the Parma demographical area described by the consortium.
Francesco,
yes.
Before you go on with your presentation,
sure,
because we have two wonderful chefs here, why don't we let them tell us what they're going to cook? Because for the first time, we have a great chef from the United States, Jackie. She's going to prepare what, Jackie? Tell us about your dish.
Oh, sure, absolutely. First, I'm so excited to have you guys here in the Middleby showroom, and I'm just really excited to cook alongside such a wonderful chef as well and learn about the authentic Italian products that we're presenting today. So I'm making tortellini in brodo. So I've done some classic things, but as I'm learning, I haven't done all the classic things. But I'm going to be making a really beautiful broth, brodo, and then I did a lot of handmade tortellini that are filled with some of our featured products. So
thank you, Jackie. What about you, Michele, before we continue with the explanation of the product?
Of course.
What are you going to do for us?
First of all, what a great sound and what a great aroma. So I'm going to do passatelli, which is a traditional dish from Emilia-Romagna. Not everybody knows this dish, so it's a great occasion to go back to what is a tradition, and as you know, I love to cook with very limited ingredients. And then I hope Chef Jackie will join me for a little start that we have in our ideas and cores to play together.
Yes.
So I can't wait, I'm excited. And the brodo is distracting. It smells so great.
thank you.
Well, thank you. You guys start working on it, and
Please.
Francesco, please go on with your explanation of the DOPs.
Anyway, going back to the geographical areas of Emilia-Romagna. What makes Emilia-Romagna unique, as I say, is geographical position. As you can see, the DOP has a description in the name that defines the terroir. That's because in order to be a DOP, it has to be everything has to be known in the specific area, from the parameters set by the consortium in the production, into the identifiers, into the geographical area where the product is going to be made. We have also IGPs. One of them is Balsamic Vinegar. It's a classic from Emilia-Romagna. IGPs, that means that some of the production could be done somewhere else, but needs to be finished in a specific geographical area because it adds a specific flavor. When we talk about the air of Parma, it's well known throughout the world, even Rossini wrote music about it, is because these items cannot be what they are without that climatic aroma. So anything else that would you like to add?
No, I think we should start since we have the brand ambassador of Parmigiano Reggiano. Why don't we start with that, Michele?
Federico, I was carefully listening because when you touch Emilia-Romagna, when you start talking about tradition, talking about art and heritage, first of all, I start smiling because I am very proud. I can see you can see in my eyes, in my voice. Wearing this jacket is it's like having that tap on the shoulder that you feel you are in the right place and you are in the right path. So I want to thank the consortium and I want to talk about the consortium a bit together. Parmigiano Reggiano, it is a true Italian masterpiece. And this is how I feel it and this is how I approach it. And when you are approaching such a great product, you always have to remember what is simplicity. Simplicity is what we're doing here. It's getting to the right points, touching the right chords to getting a symphony. Things that usually are the best are also the most easy to share with them, like reading a great book. The story makes the interest, but the story also finds an audience in the moment they feel participating in the plot. So I would like to tell you the story of the Parmigiano Reggiano. It's an old story. It's been evolving years, craftsmanship, attention, selection, a lot of focus in picking what is so simple, just 3 ingredients. So can you imagine, I see chef is doing very warm right there. Can you imagine?
Speaking of simple.
Exactly.
Very simple stuff.
Exactly. 3 ingredients together, salt, milk, and rennet. Together they create something that evolves every day, something that ages every day, and it gets more mature. I like to use this word because maturity means understanding better what you like, finding your own identity. So first of all, time is on our side. In the production of Parmigiano Reggiano, in order to be Parmigiano Reggiano, you can detect very easily reading of the size, but we're going to see it in a few seconds, at least has to be aged 12 months. 3 ingredients, at least 12 months. And then we have other 2 secret ingredients, time and passion. More than 330 producers, part of the consortium, every day they are making this cheese with their family, with their tradition, with very simple gestures. Parmigiano Reggiano can be made in only one way, but for sure can use different type of bride of cows and milk. It could be from the mountain. It could be very aged, or it could be around 14 months and having a more flavor of milk. And this is something one day we should do together, going through a tasting and detecting all those amazing pairings.
I have a question, because a friend of mine always told me about the 4 seasonal Parmigiano Reggiano.
First of all, you want to know the name of your friend or not? Who's this friend?
Can I announce it?
Okay.
Told me that
we're going to find you out, friend.
Parmigiano Reggiano tastes different depending on the time of the year that it's made. Is that correct?
Parmigiano, it is Parmigiano Reggiano. It tastes Parmigiano Reggiano all the time. Because as you know, and I want to share with them, Parmigiano Reggiano, 2 words in one product, means, and you were mentioning before, that can be done only in those places, only in those areas. So for sure, what kind of part of the year, what height, if it was from the mountain, and you're gonna see some rinds, some tyrosine, some coloring. So nature is powerful. The human craft is very, very authentic and specific. And this is a true Italian artisanal product. So all the aromas containing, they can be so vast and so unique. This is a great invitation, and thank you, to saying start picking your favorite Parmigiano Reggiano, but pick the original. And to detect it, it's just in the corner here. I have very long arms, don't worry, I did it before. You can read Parmigiano Reggiano. And this is when the consortium, after the first 12 months, gets the stamp to be approved and ready. So going back to your question, there's always a great excuse to try more Parmigiano Reggiano, like for wine.
It's like a flight, Parmigiano. We'll do a winter or summer.
Let's take a flight. You said it, let's go to the airport and fly to Parmigiano.
Oh, I would like to do that too. One thing I want to bring back to when you say identifiers, because when we have DOPs, the identifiers are very important, because as a consumer, you really want to know what you're buying when you go into the store, either be a supermarket or a specialty store. You know, if you go to a specialty cheesemonger, the Parmigiano Reggiano will be cut at the moment. If you go to a supermarket, we'll have pre-cut pieces and cryovac. How do I know if this is the right product? I mean, I think the chef can point out to the identifiers of the area.
I also want to, sorry to interrupt, but you said a word that I love, cheesemongers. I recently had an amazing event with the cheesemongers, and I found there's so much passion, so much attention to not only to the details, but sharing the moment that for us is very relevant. Those few minutes we have daily to think in what we want to cook, and specifically getting to the store and have those last words guiding you to pick the ingredient you need. As me and Chef Jackie, we do exchanging know-how. We've been talking all morning. What do you think? What do you should try this, try that? So let me thank you all the cheesemongers. They are doing such a great work, and I'm very happy every time I can spend time with them talking about Parmigiano Reggiano. Now, thanks to my accent, I'm gonna go through a couple of words that are very important to detect and picture what is Parmigiano Reggiano when you see a wheel. Top part of the wheel. Now I'm gonna take a few steps. Don't worry, I'm gonna come very slow. The top, it's called piatto, like dish, it's flat. All the round part, it's called scalza. It's the editorial part where the consortium is gonna stamp and narrating all the information. It's the part that we wanna share with you. It's where you can read everything about us, where you can easily detect where it was made, when, the year. Everything is there for you. Every time you source a little piece or a big piece of Parmigiano Reggiano, well, we love the big pieces, we can tell.
Of course we do.
Make sure you can detect them. A piatto. On top of the piatto, most of the time you will not find anything written on top, but there are some exceptions, and we're gonna see it in a bit. So yes, there's a lot of information here, but stay focused in getting the flavors and the aroma. We'll do the other part, making sure you can always receive what is the most and best selected according to the value of the consortium, which we're gonna talk about.
One thing I want to point out is when he was pointing at the identifiers are there, like I say, is to make sure that you're getting the Parmigiano Reggiano and not something else. When you are at the specialty store, you'll be able to see the whole wheel, you'll be able to read the name on the side, the stamp, and everything else. But when you go to the supermarket, what do you do? Well, there's a solution, because the consortium Parmigiano Reggiano has thought of that. And as a DOP, they have an identifier and all the information that you need on the packaging that you're going to get. So traditionally, you have the consortium name on top, and then you have the DOP on the bottom. Bear in mind the terroir, the Parmigiano Reggiano logo, and bear in mind that it will have on the back, it will tell you what age, when it was made, and everything else that you find on the whole wheel. Why is that important? Because you want to make sure you get the real thing. It took many years in tradition to bring a product to these shores. We want to make sure we get the right one and not something different.
I think your friend has a question for me that I
Yes.
can hear it from here. He's asking me, how can I keep my Parmigiano Reggiano when I get home? How can I make sure that it stands exactly as I bought it? I think he wanna know this. I know
It does.
I think
It
I
does.
figure it is.
And I know before we get to that, he wants to know if there's any parts of the Parmigiano that I should know how to use the old Parmigiano. A lot of people take the skin and throw it out, which I saw the chef here, which she will explain to me why
she was stealing the piece when I was not
I was-
watching.
why.
This
I was
part
trying to
because
steal a
she
big
was.
piece.
Oh yeah, that's
That's fine,
I have a
actually.
suitcase. You can bring in the suitcase.
Perfect, perfect.
No, but as you can see, chef here, you adapt. If everything is to be used, you don't throw anything out. And the same thing happens with the prosciutto di Parma. You use the skin for the same as that. So when people say, "Oh, these products are expensive," there's nothing expensive about tradition. It's nothing expensive
Or maybe
about
they
passion.
they're valuable.
Yeah.
Valuable because when I choose what I want to have in my life, in my day to day, starting from this wonderful jacket, proud as I mentioned, or this spoon, or the ingredients I want to be related with, to me it comes down to value. What is worthy to spend my time with? What I want to have inside of me? Because eating is a big responsibility, not only for yourself, for people we feed, for our choices, for they represent us. So I want all of you to always have the best, which is what I pick for me. So choosing an ingredient from the chicken I chose, and you chose actually, you want to always ask your questions. What is the use I'm planning for? And that part is also comes with another question. The moment I have the Parmigiano Reggiano, what parts I'm going to use, what I'm going to use to getting the best result. I can see you got the pieces from here, chef. I see it. So
Don't
you
tell
said,
anybody.
no, I'm not telling you. I just Federico noticed. And the Parmigiano Reggiano, for example, when we said get a bigger piece, because from the center to the edge, it's an adventure. It's an adventure of different flavors. It's an adventure of how it's been aging. And you can see, I hope you can see, how thicker is the edge here, and you see all these white little dots and spots. So the external part, where we have all the information, after you wash carefully, it's a great friend for a broth. I also use it for aging Negroni, but that's a different story. It works very well. And then we should go through all the aromas and profile because, you know, when it's very young, so 12, 14 months, you can even detect banana flavors. You can detect a strongly milky component, but you can also detect the evolution, how it's moving towards a certain direction.
Isn't that because of the sucrose, the lactose that's in the
Parmigiano Reggiano
when
is
it
where
ages,
you
it gets
say-
sweeter.
When Parmigiano Reggiano has no lactose from day zero, and this is something very important because I know you were almost to ask about it because a lot of people doesn't want to eat lactose or they cannot. Parmigiano Reggiano, all ages has no lactose ever. So anytime you're combining a Parmigiano Reggiano in your dish, and this we could talk about hours, you are bringing amino acids, you are bringing nutrients, but you have no lactose. And this comes from the nature. We'll have more time of talking.
Okay.
Which, you know, it's very interesting what you mentioned about the lactose because as a Chamber of Commerce, we have conducted a series of studies and we of course we are always looking for eventually counterfeited product in the United States. And
Thank you for that.
and it's easier to detect a fake Parmigiano or Reggiano because the consortium does a lot of tests in Italy.
There's so
And
many
as soon as they
other
find
cheeses
lactose,
around.
automatically it's one of those fake cheeses.
It's a question we get a lot, so thank you for pointing out. that
No,
there's
it's important
no
because
lactose.
people tend to figure the uniqueness of the product. Like I say, the value that you bring. There's a lot of factors from the nutritional value that the product has to
Well, it's totally packed with nutrition.
it's protein packed.
And look at those dots. Those are tyrosine. It's the part when you're gonna start having the taste and cutting it. It gives the granity, but also it gives you an opportunity for pairing. So remember what we're saying here. I really wish, and I'm sure we'll do it maybe another time, going through the flight of the Parmigiano Reggiano with the sensorial tasting. Really understand, but we'll do something on this.
I
maybe in a
want to
couple of
bring
years.
the tyrosine object to the forefront because it's very important because when I was working, I had a call from a big supermarket that told me, "Oh, we got crystals or glass in the prosciutto." I was like, "This doesn't exist." I thought it was a pre-slice. Somebody did something. I get there, they give me this big piece of prosciutto with the tyrosine crystals there. I said, "That's a unique item. It's not crystal. It's just amino acid that adds flavor, and it's part of because of the terroir, probably because this little piglet had the whey from the Parmigiano Reggiano when it was growing up. You know? So
Temperature, timing, all these things we really need to keep an eye on. And I just want to share one word about the temperature, and then I think we have to see really what's cooking.
Yeah.
oh yes, you know.
When you buy the Parmigiano Reggiano, store it in the refrigerator, keep it covered, but remember, before eating, take it out from the refrigerator at least 30 to 40 minutes. Me, I even take it out a little bit early because I really like to have all the opening of the flavors, and for me it's also a moment, a meditative moment that I most of the time pair with the wine. So key information, store in the refrigeration, allow some time out.
Michele, a question that we hear all the time. What is the best way to store the cheese? I mean, where do you put it? Because generally when they buy it from supermarkets, it's in a plastic film. I don't think plastic, personally, it's a good way to store.
It's a great question, Federico. That's why I was spending a couple of words more and taking myself off of the burners, but I felt it's a great question because both of us, all of us, we are watching here and you can see how it's changing, and it could be a concern. It's actually not. The major concern is what you said, how store it properly. The way I do it in my restaurant, it's different from the way I do it in my house. Why? Because in a restaurant, you are probably using so many serving, opening the refrigerator, shaving, bringing a flight. So you need to be practical, efficient, and staying on a service temperature that we define before according to manufacturer. So in your house, what I would advise you, and I hope we'll go shopping together actually, because it will be very fun with all of you as well. Buy it, take it off from the plastic, and put it in a traditional cloth. I like those, something like this, very similar to this. But find a position in your refrigerator that is in a level of temperature in and between. 41, 42, 43, it's great. Remember, refrigerators are great friends, but they tend to dry. If you want to dry something really fast, and chefs knows, the refrigerator, as your skin in a very cold day, gets very dry. So cover it, store it in a position where the temperature is not too cold, not too warm, 42, 43, but then allows at least 30, 40 minutes. Was it a great answer?
That's
That's a
great answer. Because normally I feel like even I go to my sister or something, she has it stored in a zip top bag or something like that, and there's just moisture coming out of it. So it's never...
It might not be something to worry about it, but
right.
the other
you eat
side...
it quickly, which we do. But.
Exactly. This is what most of the time when I get back from the cheese market, when I bought my cheese, I eat it on the street. It's a great snack. It works. But as a general rule, I like to see this part. We want to make sure that we have the right amount of humidity and cold.
Great suggestion.
To the burners?
With the burners.
To the burners.
And I think we need to do a little bit of... nobody's going to listen to us, so we have to do a little team building here
We
for
do.
the appetizer.
So we have Romano beans, where we should talk about where these are from.
Well, these are... It's a long story, but... Again, when you are in Italy, that's why we are doing this amazing, true Italian master classes, because in Italy, and Federico can spend a word after that, it can change in 3 miles and the belonging of a produce gets very complicated. Let's say it's from the heart of Italy.
Okay, great.
Maybe Tuscany, maybe Lazio, maybe
I didn't know where they were from, but I picked them up.
The heart of Italy. I have friends from any region in Italy, so maybe they're there.
They could be watching.
Exactly.
As long as they're Italian, they're fine.
Exactly. So we are going to make a little starter course, a little appetizer together.
And it's going to be our project for the day, our joint project.
Yeah, our joint project.
Perfect. I think on this, again, we're going to not only explaining the simplicity and the profile taste, but we want to show how it's so easy to have a great time together when you are in the kitchen. When it's so easy to play around and now it's so easy to connect it. So are we going to blanch it?
Yeah, I'll blanch it.
Okay,
And also
okay.
how simple we're gonna make this. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I think that's key. And you know, Chef was talking about how simple we keep ingredients and dishes, and that's just key. I mean, even going on to what I'm making right now, should we dive into this? Okay, so I'm doing the filling really quick.
And me, I'm going to work on the tabaglione parte for our joint plate.
Okay, perfect.
And then give us the timing and we're going to make it.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
So filling wise, I have the prosciutto di Parma.
Prosciutto di Parma.
I have about a 1/4 pound. So a lot of what we're using today and featuring today is going inside of the tortellini. I'm doing some ground pork and some mortadella. So if you guys watched the last masterclass, we talked about that. About a 1/4 pound, a little bit of nutmeg, and then I'm going to grate in about a 1/2 cup of Parmigiano Reggiano. So that's going to take me a little while, but it's going to add a nice saltiness and nuttiness.
Michele, why she's grating the Parmigiano Reggiano? I have a
Why
question.
I'm not grading the Parmigiano Reggiano?
No,
That's the question.
that's the real
You
question.
come
Because you
here.
should be doing that. But the point is, another thing that we find, it's a very common question, and a lot of time people in the United States, when they go to a supermarket, they find Parmigiano Reggiano already grated, and that's is always a source of questions, and people get worried. Am I getting the right thing? So I tell us what the consortium does, because there is some grated Parmigiano Reggiano that is authentic because it comes from Italy. And why don't you tell people that are listening to us today our
There are all kinds of cheeses, and my focus and attention is always giving the best education I can on Parmigiano Reggiano, where I'm belonging to. It's very easy to detect what you're buying because every time you see a stamp, and I'm sure Francesco was showing me there of the consorzio, you know immediately a couple of information. It is authentic. It's reaching the highest level of quality, otherwise we'll not give the stamp. And you also know that it's suitable for you. It's there because we feel that is great. So any Parmigiano Reggiano is the best Parmigiano Reggiano. As long as you clearly detect the consortium stamp and you can recognize it's coming from the Parmigiano Reggiano consortium. So everything works.
I like to take
What
that.
is this sound? It sounds
So I'm
music.
food processing up all of the filling I just put inside here, and we're making a nice smooth, almost pate kind of
See?
feel for our
Ripieno. Let's give some Italian words. Ripieno.
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 Ripieno. See, I need to learn Italian. This is where it's gonna happen.
I'm trying to learn Italian, but it gets so difficult to me.
You're trying?
Yeah.
Get out of here. All right. Perfect.
So I'll take this little lull
Yeah.
in the cooking, and I'm going to move forward to a couple other DOPs from the Emilia-Romagna. One of the principal icons of Italian cooking is Prosciutto di Parma. Prosciutto di Parma has been, as Chef was saying before, there's a couple ingredients, very few ingredients. Prosciutto di Parma has the similar ingredients, except for there's no milk, but there's pork. But the main ingredients is salt. One of the reasons why most of this product were located in that area is because Emilia-Romagna has two great sources of salt. One is salsa maggiore and one is cervia. Cervia is actually known as the salt of the Pope. It's so unique that the Pope uses it. When the Celts moved down into the Po Valley and they were curing their meats, they realized that the terroir was giving it a different flavor. When Romans came over, they adapted to the Prosciutto di Parma, and at the time it was not Prosciutto di Parma because the consortium was in there. So at that point, this product...
Is it a familiar sound for you?
Oh yes.
Okay, we just want to get approved.
So the Prosciutto di Parma it's been made in the same area for 2,000 years. Parmigiano Reggiano probably 1,000 or more years in there.
1,000 years.
Huh?
1,000 years.
One of the wines that we're going to taste later, the Lambrusco, has been made for the great Varietal has been in the same area for at least 2,000 years. So you understand about tradition, how many families have worked these products. And going back to Prosciutto di Parma. Prosciutto di Parma is one of those unique items that became to the forefront because it's so good and it has a lot of value to the farmers that were doing it at the time. So we start with that. The consortium decides that Prosciutto di Parma needs to have the main ingredient, which is the pork, needs to be from a specific geographical area. No animals from other areas could be used to make the product. How we do know that? Because as we talk about identifiers, we have numbers in the back that will identify and tell me what happened to the life of that animal. One of the identifiers that we carry is the slaughterhouse or the harvesting place. Reason is because animal welfare is very important. We don't want any animal to be mishandled during the process.
Yes, you may.
At that point, the product gets salted, and that's one of the first things that combines the curing of the items. And the salt is there to start the process of curing. Moves forward, it's power washed, and it's hanged to dry, so it becomes an air dry product. Prosciutto di Parma is has no nitrate, has salt, pork, thyme, and air. That's the only thing you find there. One of the things that we have is that after a very rigorous quality control, the product gets stamped. One of the things that gets used during the process is the spillo, which is this. It's a very new and a very old traditional
I bring
tool.
2 of them a year.
That's why I
so
find it.
delicate.
They're very delicate, but
They very are.
the thing is that they have no aroma. So when you poke into the prosciutto, you actually realize what a prosciutto is going to taste like. You don't want to cut into it, so you see if it's mature or not. And at that point, the consortium applies the firebrand, and that's very important to see the firebrand in the product. The geographical area of the production is about not bigger than Manhattan and New York put together. The consortium, a lot of people says, what they do with the pigs or whatever's left out of the pigs, they actually use that to make other salumis, high quality salumis or IGPs, like Felino. Prosciutto di Parma, as we were talking, has to be sliced precisely. One of the things I would like to see is to have like translucent. The reason why it's that is because it's such a delicate flavor that you want to make sure that it's not overpowering. It's just the right balance. You get all the qualities of the profile. Prosciutto has different flavors within the leg. As she was preparing for the tortellini fillings, a Massari, or basically a chef in the kitchen, will use the bottom part. The bottom part is a little saltier, and that's a lot of flavors into the product. Another of the reason the Prosciutto di Parma, when you go and shop in the supermarket, you identify pre-sliced packages can only be pre-sliced in Italy. They will have this identifiers. So,
I know they're asking what cooking.
yeah.
Usually they answer not much, but here it's cooking a lot, and there's a lot of going
That
on.
covers a lot of the Prosciutto di Parma. Prosciutto di Parma is used and is very iconic in Italian cooking because it's one of those things that was easy to transport. So when Italians move over to other countries, that's one of the first things, together with Parmigiano Reggiano. One of the things that, other things that they brought with them, and that Emilia-Romagna is known for, there's a couple things in Emilia-Romagna, that when you go into a family, they usually have either a slicer, a nice chunk of Parmigiano Reggiano, and then they have a wonderful liqueur called Aceto Balsamico. Aceto Balsamico started out in the medieval times as a medicinal digestive, and throughout the years has acquired a lot of value as a cooking ingredient. It gets misused a little bit, you know. There's some stuff that you want to do with it that you don't want to overpower because it's very unique and sweet. The flavors I get there from a thing called the batteria. Every family that is a farm stand or a farm in Emilia-Romagna has a batteria. Batteria is a set of casks, about 21 casks with different flavors. Each the must gets put in the first one. That's one flavor. Moves on to the next one, which could be cherry, and add the flavor cherry for about a year. Then from there, it gets moved on into another, like the Solera system. So you'll find in a Prosciutto Balsamico a lot of ages and flavors within the product. Another one of the items that we're going to show today is the Felino. Felino, once again, is a town called Felino right south of Parma. And what they did is they took the best cuts that were left over from the production Parmigiano of Prosciutto di Parma. And as you can see, the symbol is the IGP symbol, which is different than DOP. The IGP symbol is blue, same as in here. Those are the IGP symbols. So when you have an IGP symbol, that means a part of the process was done in there. Basically, it could be that the moss came from somewhere else, but the finishing touches or the batteria was done in a specific, in Modena or nearby Modena. The same thing for the Felino. The Felino was butchered by dried out into a cellar in the Felino town, be outside of that town. That's where the IGP is. Chef, are you going to use Basil Balsamic on anything?
Oh, you guys are here, right? We're cooking.
Yes, it's left me hanging.
Sorry, we kept you on the side, but we're busy here. We're dealing with temperature, we're dealing with adjustments, we're dealing with things we forgot,
Yes.
we're dealing with things we feel is really rustic, but finally we're ready to plate.
Yes.
And I know someone has been probably watching me whisking like a crazy with a fork on this yolk. Well, this is not a traditional zabaglione, but it is a traditional zabaglione because the main ingredient is my elbow. I think I need later Federico will figure what we can do here. And also, I'm going to use the part I've been incorporating as the air, look at the texture, as an emulsionating element. But I'm adding a little bit of acidity, and acidity is a great word. So I'm using, if you guys don't mind, a little bit of the balsamico for adding an acid element to this wonderful, wonderful mix of the yolk. There's just a little bit salt. We're going to plate here. I'm going to use the acidity here, and we're going to do a touch of finishing. I'm planning some ideas about those onions. I like it. I think they're going to taste
good. We
great.
took a little bit of the stock and added some onions into the Romano beans, so
it should work. I'm adding some Parmigiano Reggiano. This is, I know, Federico, you were asking before, this is a 16 months, directly from the consortio. I mean, approved and stamped, and I usually buy this in vacuum packed of a pound, if that is an information. And I decided, look, something younger because I want the milky part here. So that's my idea. And it's getting together in the way I want it.
a ribbon.
See, like, bravissimo, like a ribbon. And I'm adding now a touch of balsamico for the acidity. I know someone is watching and what is doing this guy? He's doing something delicious. Unfortunately, you cannot taste it from there, but I know at the Italian Chamber of Commerce in New York, I'm working from Let You Taste from the Camera. Mr. Milani says yes. I cannot wait to try. I would love to be the first for that. Okay, chef, to the plate.
To the plate.
Yes, I'm going to hold the plate because you have the tortellini over there, so I don't want to squeeze them.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, how we did this? Blanched it?
Blanched in the stock.
Okay.
We took a little bit of olive oil and white wine and the onion, and then a little salt, pepper. That's it.
So we've been, I want to use this word, we've been so smart to using elements from the broth.
Done.
And this is an invitation also, done. See the chef says done. Okay. Service to the table. We used some ingredients that we were already brewing for our broth in order to make sure that we can keep all those flavors getting together. So, and the final touch here on my side will be the zabaglione.
And the Parmigiano Reggiano works as a great display as well for.
So the temperature is going to really help because when they touch it, and look, is it raw? Yes, it's raw. You can have it raw at the right temperature.
But that's the importance of using good quality eggs as well, and knowing where your eggs are coming from, and making sure everything is.
Is this where you say I know my chickens?
Yeah,
okay.
I know my chickens.
Okay, good. Okay, chef, can you finish with a little bit of the balsamico, please?
Yeah.
Because I want to give a great color. I think we're missing something in terms of being very vertical.
Yeah.
In kitchen, I know. In kitchen, for us, it's never ready. Okay, this time it's ready. Look at how simple it was.
Wow.
Super healthy. All the ingredients are over there. What I would do now with my almond-shaped knife, this is the moment, opening the cheese, and I'm doing some scales just for the finishing touch on top. Okay, I think That's
We
great.
nailed it, yeah.
Yes, do you guys want a bite?
Wow, that looks so good.
Okay, we'll put it on the front here.
Yeah, we gotta get pictures of that.
Yes, of course. Remember, I always have this special stretching arm. I can reach everything.
So I want to ask a question about, because I see it served a lot of time, especially in Parma, and the Parmigiano Reggiano with a fine Prosciutto Balsamico.
Yes, it's a great way to pair. It's a great way to match it because that part of acidity and sweetness and smoothness and meeting between very distinctive flavors but with a large spectrum of aroma.
Oh, yeah. So like Prosciutto Balsamico has 21 different flavors in it, which transfer.
If not more.
If not more, depending on how old he gets. Sometimes when people say, "Oh, I bought a Prosciutto Balsamico 125 years old," there's a part of it. That's what I'm saying. I said there's a part of it that is 125 years old. It's basically most that's being transferred through the years from cask to cask and adds different flavors. So how somebody pairs a great Prosciutto Balsamico with a great Parmigiano Reggiano?
Well, the way I do it, as you can see, was very spontaneous our approach because we tasted before, so we know exactly what to expect. Thank you, Federico, and thank you for all this vast type of balsamico. We could really understand what we want. I remember we were having a little chat before, which one you think is best. And I was answering as I answered to Federico and to all of you, start tasting. See what is your profile and see where are you coming from through your day. Because to me, for example, in the morning, yes, I have Parmigiano Reggiano.
I have prosciutto in the morning.
It's
I watched him eat a big hunk of it this morning.
See, she got me right away, and that's fine. So it's my personal take on it. So in the morning, or maybe in the afternoon, or in the dinner, or later, your profile taste is different. Sometimes you eat because you want to have an experience. Sometimes you eat for feeding yourself. So keep in mind, those are all good things, but they come from a different perspective and distance. So going back to the pairing, taste it, and take a little notes. I always take a little notes. And when you find a Parmigiano Reggiano, let's say of 36 months, that works very well with your balsamico, try a little bit more with maybe a little pause with a glass of water.
I want to make a correction there. We were talking about Europeans and all that. It has to be a Prosciutto Balsamico di Mola, and not a Prosciutto Balsamico in general.
Of course.
Because when you say Prosciutto Balsamico, you identify a product, a specific product.
Federico, you're concerned about the broth is boiling.
Yeah, I think it's boiling here. You should start going with
I know.
your passatelli.
So,
Michele.
the Modena, and since Federico doesn't want to cook, I realize right now, I think I'm going to do it, okay? We should really think about getting Federico in the kitchen. He has the timing,
I think
he
that's
has
a
the
whole other
eye,
episode. I agree.
and the concerns.
Francesco, why don't you tell us a little bit about the different ages of prosciutto di Parma?
We'll talk about prosciutto di Parma. There's a minimum age, like there's a minimum age, within the parameters of the consortium. The minimum age is 14 months. 14 to 16 months is actually the workhorse of the industry. Sorrel gets mostly used for preparing as an ingredient or as a very light charcuterie plate, which doesn't have very defined, strong flavors into it. As it gets older, prosciutto di Parma needs to be served by itself. It's very important that you serve it by itself because it's such a unique item. It's very ethereal, the aroma, that if you add anything strong next to it, it will dissipate. One of the things that we like to use is when we slice prosciutto, we want a flywheel slicer because it doesn't heat up the product as we do it. So between 16 to 18 months, you already get defined flavors. And actually you can identify, sometimes you can identify the location where it came from, by the aroma, because it depends on what trade winds came off of the mountains or came from the Adriatic Sea. There's a very sought after aroma called Marettimo, which comes from the sea. That's about add of umami or salinity into the product that's very unique. It's expressed in the 18 to 16 months of aging. After that, you go into the 24 months, which is the traditional oldest prosciutto that you find in the US. But if you were in Italy, you'll go up to 36 and 48 months. And those traditionally are served on the bone because they only cure on the bone. So once you take the bone out of the prosciutto di Parma, the curing stops. And that's what's important. As he gets older, it gets a little more valuable.
Thank you, Francesco. But I want people to see what she's doing here because
Me too.
this is amazing.
Am I part of the people who can see
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. Because
I really want to see it.
this is the first time I see an American chef.
I
doing
trained
one
her
of the most
personally.
traditional Italian dishes. So wow.
Thank you.
Jackie.
No, but
Oh
I mean,
my gosh, that means so much to me.
Bravissima, and actually we take the challenge before of putting on a scale and weighting them. The weight was there, means very, very tiny. There's a story behind that you're going to be to next time if you want to know it, not this time. I'm not going to share all the stories today, so.
No, you have to leave a little,
hints and bites, right?
Yes.
So I want to know about the dough because I get a lot of questions about it. How would you stretch your dough? How you dough your pasta? So what ingredients are you putting over there?
Sure. So I did 100 grams of semolina flour
Oh,
and then 100 grams of double O.
Great. So
To
that
2 eggs.
double is like the general purpose, or it's a little bit different, or it's something that you really like, or you have in your house?
So it's something I really like. It's very fine. It's a very fine powder flour. So it really
Almost a powder, yes. That's
yeah, almost a powder.
I agree.
It's a lot different than your all-purpose flour.
And that's the part Federico says I made it. Come on.
No, I didn't. But I want to make sure that they say it.
Bellissimi. Look, the color, it was really got my eyes when I got here. And I think perfect. And I think it's one of the way you're going to feel an important aspect of the profile taste of the Parmigiano Reggiano. Umami. There's also nutmeg, which is something you can detect when you taste Parmigiano Reggiano. And now I have a fun fact I want to share with you about this. It's the same definition, and I'm stealing the word to my friend here. When we taste Parmigiano Reggiano, sometimes you feel there's a moment of silence, and someone says, I can detect raw. And that's the moment you feel that everything is there. That flavor that is very familiar when you are in the kitchen, when you are doing your broth, is something you can identify in a few parts of the Parmigiano Reggiano, aging, I would say, 24, 36, sometime earlier. It depends really how the aging process is going. So perfect matching, great technique, and it will be a little bit in the passatelli as well, but I don't want to.
I'm going to steal that from you too, because as she was using the prosciutto di Parma as a filling, because prosciutto di Parma is one that adds a little more umami flavor into the product. She blended perfectly, and you cannot perceive. You think it will be very salty, but it's not salty. Actually, it's very well balanced.
I like the word taste. We are bringing in taste to the table. We are bringing in the true Italian taste. There's a reason behind this idea of Italian chamber, of the true Italian taste, which means be minimal and according to the best you can get on your table. We're not saying eat Italian every day. We are saying eat the best ingredients for you. Be authentic. Be true to yourself. I think I'm stealing the words, but I really want to say
a wonderful ambassador of the campaign, Michele.
And I want to.
I'm taking.
And I want to close with that because to identify, it says Italian, but in this case I will identify Emilia-Romagna because everything in every dish is connected. The terroir of the area makes it unique. If you took prosciutto was made somewhere else, or something cheese that was somewhere else, it will not taste the same. So the uniqueness of the terroir, that's why the families that belong to the consortium, Prosciutto di Parma, Parmigiano Reggiano, Modena, they really care. It's all about tradition. Think about it, you're getting a bunch of Italians together to decide on something, that hate each other sometimes, so it's pretty tough. But in this case, the expression of the tradition of family comes through because, making tortellini, it's very traditional in Emilia-Romagna. It's, I would say, almost an experience, a spiritual experience.
The labor of love.
Yes.
Labor of love.
And by the way, that's what they call sfoglino, chef, when they make the egg and the dough you're mixing. That's what
they call them sdora. I have the accent, I have a wonderful thing. I have to say it's called sdora, which means someone is. It's a great word, but it's someone really in the home doing this. And I want to give Jackie a little bit of time, because I know she's doing a lot of work. I want to share the ingredients for the passatelli real quick, because it's actually something they could really do home even now. In the future, they really can do it as a quick treat. Many times I've been called a 5-ingredient chef. I like it. I want to use very minimal ingredients. The amount of ingredients is limited. So passatelli really represents me, and also it really gives the stage to Parmigiano Reggiano as a great ingredient. I see many times shaving Parmigiano dishes. It's great, but it would be like having a great music, but having the volume a little bit not at the right volume. You can use it in many, many ways, especially as a great and unique ingredient. That's very important. So the ingredients are ratio 1:1. I'm not going to give you quantities because cooking about quantities is dangerous, because then it's...
I have to agree, because it's like every time I make pasta dough, it's a completely different ratio. It depends on the humidity. It just really depends.
You want to taste it.
It depends if I'm angry or I'm happy.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah.
It depends what is your profile, taste of the day. So focus on the ratio. 1:1 with Parmigiano Reggiano and breadcrumbs. 1:1. What kind of breadcrumbs? Anything you have leftover on. You don't eat bread? Perfect. You can get also crumbs from rice gluten-free bread. There's no limitation on this part. So 1:1 and a pinch of nutmeg. I'm sure all of you are familiar. It's very well used in a lot of Indian foods, but not only. It's a great ingredient, and again, one of the profile of the aroma in the Parmigiano Reggiano. So 1:1, I'm using 6 spoons of Parmigiano Reggiano grated. I want to use a 24, 27 months. Same with the bread, 6 spoons, a little bit of nutmeg, and then I'm grating some lemon inside, just the lemon peel, the skin. And I know you said, but this is a dust, of course. It's missing one ingredient. Eggs. 3 eggs, 1 egg for any participant. I know we are more here today, Federico. Now everybody's going to have the passatelli, unfortunately. So I'm cracking 3 eggs and have some boiling broth on the side. It could be vegetarian, it could be chicken, it could be beef. I'm using the broth Jackie did. It's outstanding. I feel very lucky because she did a great job. I think it was the main reason, the result of the work she did there, cleaning the chicken and getting the veggies and going through the process. There were some technical points I'm not telling you, but great work. So 3 eggs here inside here. No bones, please. If you have the bones of the eggs, rich of calcium, but you really don't want it. And then again, time is on our side. Is it on our side as now?
It's not on our side anymore.
It's not.
So let the passatelli sit, and let's make sure you're gonna mix all the ingredients together. I'm gonna do it really quick with a spoon, and already mix them. Since time is on our side, you wanna rest this dough in the refrigerator for at least 2, 3, 4 hours. I did it before, and this is the result. And now, the part everybody was waiting for. Ta-da! This is a tool. It's called, I think, mashed potato.
It's a potato ricer, actually.
I didn't get a single word of what you
like
said, but I agree with that. It's the potato, that one. And here's
Balsamic.
Yeah.
Perfect. So from today is the passatelli machine.
That's it.
So you want to do a little bowl of your passatelli ready here. They're going to be finished with the Parmigiano Reggiano crema that we're going to do together. In the meantime, we're going to press them through this new invented passatelli machine. And we need a knife, so this is the time that we do it. I mean, always need it. All right, so you need to have, this is helping the family. Bye. I like you to keep it then a little bit short though. Got it? Little movement. So you can do it. You can harm them as much as you want.
You can see I'm not a chef.
Don't worry, that's fine. The industry has always been for that. So we did them a little bit shorter than usual because we're gonna use today not eating with the broth, but actually eating with the Parmigiano reduction cream Reggiano that I'm gonna do right now. Perfect.
I have a question for you, Chef. Do you use any Parmigiano Reggiano age? Or?
Well, in this part, since, and you see when they are ready, when they start coming on the soup phase. Can you check, Federico, if they're ready? What do you think?
I think they're ready.
Yeah.
That fast?
Yes.
Wow.
See? Time is on our side.
Time is on our side.
So the Parmigiano Reggiano cream, una bella crema ricca di Parmigiano Reggiano. You want to buy the best whole milk you can find, the one you like the most, heating up in the pan. One of the few occasions that I'm actually adding Parmigiano Reggiano grated right away on the temperature because I want to do a mixture here. And the passatelli are ready. They actually look really, really beautiful. And I'm going to use this little spider. I see she's boiling the tortellini.
I just dropped my tortellini. I felt
I think we're in a competition.
Here.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I keep time. I'll tell you.
Yeah, time is on our side. Speaking of time,
why don't we talk about what we're going to drink with this?
That's what I was going to go to because I was getting a little thirsty there. One of the IGPs that are very popular and actually marries all this food together is Lambrusco. Lambrusco is one of those wines that too many years in the 80s and 70s, 80s and 90s, it was very sweet. It was not the best product, was not coming to the US. So it passed on and came back in the 2000 because there was a great passion for salumi and cheeses. So they wanted to really have the same experience they were in Emilia-Romagna. Emilia-Romagna, Lambrusco is in every table. What's unique about IGP? First of all, remember, we're saying that this cultivar has been there for the last 2,000 years. Now, there's 6 main cultivars. I mean, there's the Sorbara, which is a town. There's a Salamino, Castelvetro, which is another town. Why you need to identify the towns where the grapes came from? It's all based on uniqueness and specific flavors that develop in the grapes as it's done. Now, Lambrusco is a grape and a wine. Do we have the grape or the wine today?
Yeah, we have a very special Lambrusco today. Today we have a wine called 36 from Cantina della Volta. It's a very special Lambrusco because it's not like I believe many of you that are listening to us have tried here in the United States. This is Lambrusco made using the same method of champagne or another other Italian, sparkling wines such as Altalanga or Franciagotta. And this year we're going to try this 2014 vintage. The person that is behind this product is Christian Bellay. The first time I heard about this wine was many years ago, and it was through a friend of mine who had a restaurant in New York. His name is William Mattiello, and he was one of the first to open a restaurant totally focused on Emilia-Romagna food.
a lot of gratitude first.
Absolutely.
Such a pioneer.
And his wife was importing only wines from Emilia-Romagna, and the company was called Lambrusco Import. And so he was one of the first to introduce, this very special Lambrusco. So today we're going to try, and I'm sure that you guys are going to like it. And it's a perfect, pairing with the wonderful dishes that Michele and Jackie are preparing today, and these great products that Francesco talked about.
Even Prosciutto di Parma. I mean, Lambrusco and Salumi is the perfect pairing. Lambrusco and Parmigiano Reggiano is the perfect pairing. It can be used for all because it's not only one style. There's different styles of Lambrusco out there, and that's the apex of production.
Finito, time is on my side.
Ok.
Passatelli alla crema di Parmigiano Reggiano 24 mesi with balsamico and a little bit of black pepper. I use most of the time the Campot pepper. That's how I like it. So, chef, to the table. Service. Where is the bell? I need the
I
bell.
have to finish mine with a little bit of
Take your
Parmigiano
time.
Reggiano.
Take your time. Time is on our side.
Today we have a very special people that are going to try, our guests, very special guests that are going to try what you guys made. So please join
bellissimo.
us.
Beautiful.
We have
Look how
our
beautiful.
official taster, our president, Alberto Milani.
Alberto,
No pressure.
so no pressure. She did the tortellini. Okay, you're gonna have my dish first. It's just a temperature concern. Of course, Alberto, I like to eat in gold, so
Oh
I
my
invite you to
goodness.
eat in gold.
I'm talking to a jewelry guy, unfortunately.
Oh, this is Alberto, right? No, it's not me. Okay.
I'll make you one.
Please. Can I have a bigger one? I think they're ready.
Very
I
good.
can have it all.
All right. And go on the other side now.
Actually, it's here for you. We did.
I
we
feel
did-
like I'm on track right now.
Okay.
I feel like I'm...
Am I getting too close? I really want to see it.
Very good, Jackie. Very good.
I think I got chopped now.
Yeah.
What? All the ingredients are there.
Both of them are very good. But thank you.
Let's let Jackie first.
Oh, me. Gosh, thank you. Oh, what a beautiful
Look
color.
at the beautiful
Look at
color.
that
This
color.
is what we were discussing about it before. There's also a peculiarity in the color of this Lambrusco, Federico.
Well, buon appetito allora.
Salute.
Viva.
Jackie.
Salute.
Viva
Emilia-Romagna.
Emilia-Romagna.
Thank you, Emilia-Romagna. Thank you to the consortium. And
Sure.
thank you to all our great producers that are making this cheese, this masterpiece, this Italian treasure every day. I mean it. Thank you to all my team. Thank you to this amazing team. Thank you, Chef Jackie. I feel you are the winner here.
Oh, thank
Congratulations.
you. We're all winners. We're all winners.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Buon appetito. Ciao ragazzi.
Thank you.